Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Champions TCG, another tournament coverage Friday. We're excited to be here. It is our $50 free to play event, and we are bringing you live coverage. Give me just 1 second. We're just going to test our audio, make sure everything sounds great for our viewers. And once we get a test and a check-in, we're good to go. Alright, so it seems like we do have some sort of audio issue here. See if I can fix it. First time fixing on the fly. Alright. Check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. We are live, I think. Let me know if you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a comment in the chat here. Doesn't look like I have the audio yet, so sorry about that, folks. Still working on this. Check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, check. Alrighty. One more check, one more check. Still not working. One more check, one more check. Still not working. Okay, maybe I can add my microphone here. Check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Do we have audio here? Do we have audio here? Check, check. Okay. Sounds like we have audio again. Sorry about that, folks. So yeah, we are going to jump into some tier champions list. Okay. Sounds like we have audio again. Sorry about that, folks. So yeah, we are going to jump into some tier champions list. All right, we're jumping into Zix against Kiki here. Zix at the bottom of the screen, playing with the Stone Claw. Cutie Bug at the top with the Sabertor. All right, we're jumping into Zix against Kiki here. So Zix deploys a Grumble. Kiki has a Jello. Jellord evolves from the Jello. That Jellord has Psybeam, so it comes down and changes the power and toughness of Grumble. But it keeps the shield. Grumble able to kill this bug. Zix at 50. Draconics comes down. Wow. Draconics is a 5 mana 7/6 with Windseeker, so it's like a. In some ways, it's kind of almost even a better version of Obsidiwing, but it just doesn't evolve from the. Now comes Fangs. Draconics off the field. Jellord cleaned it up. Dreadspike out there with the shield. Digleyfur comes down. It's a massive 4/18. Ladacia, exactly what he needed there. Taking his turn, Kiki attacks twice. Unclear what he's trying to do here. Will he go after the face of Zix at the bottom of the screen? Ladacia will be able to trade with that Jellord, do some damage on the Dreadspike, but not kill it unless there's some other way to deal some damage. We do see that it popped the Ladacia, that killed the Fangs, then Munta and Perp deploy. Now Zix, 7 mana. Taking his time to think here. It's going to be take out the Dreadspike. That takes an attack. Munta is going to trade with Jellord. That's 4 mana. Zix very much prioritizing his life total here. Down comes Digleyfur. Or down goes Digleyfur with the Jelly Hydroblast. And then we see a trade, or the Munta can eat the Shadow Steel and attack with Speedy and Snowbeak. Zix at 25. Kiki all the way down to 2 cards in hand, but Zix only plays out Cutiebug here. That was not a very good turn there. Zix gets hit down to 11. Fangs takes Munta out. Emmy draws a card. Icicle freezes the Munta. But that's 11 attack back. And that is game over there. Emmy draws a card. All right. And we are going to go to game 2 there. We'll be right back with a little bit more coverage. And it is Zix. Opening on the draw. Down comes the Cutiebug. Taxed with Snowbeak. So he did have a 2-mana play. I do like that. Emmy comes down. The bug can eat that. Dark Shell comes down. Instead, the White Lily takes itself out. I wonder what that's about. Ladacia. Pass back on 4. Wow, he evolves the Snowbeak into the Ice Eagle, plays the Shadow Steel. That finds the Ice Eagle. Very crafty play. Dracora comes down, then Jelly, then pass back. So that was a good turn for Kiki. Now he pops the Ladacia. Then he evolves the Dread Spike. Wow, so this turn has been very good. Munta attacks the Jelly, then an attack for 6 with the Ice Eagle. Yeah, that was an extremely well played turn. That wind seeking ability to go and get the Ice Eagle was so huge. He had the exact amount of mana to do it. Ice Eagle comes down. Blizzard on Dread Spike. An attack with Munta after playing Ladacia and Dark Shell. Now it's a pass back. Kiki at 23 really has to consider strongly his life total here. There's the Bloom Blast combo that we've seen a lot this most recent Gen 2 meta. Dark Shell takes the Jelly out, evolves into the Dread Spike. Munta sitting there as a 5 power attacker. Also 6 mana to deploy. Grumble and Snowbeak come down. Cutiebug to bloom itself. Very good turn there for Zix. Kiki at 14. Facing an onslaught of lethal attackers. The bug takes out the beak. Jello comes down. No, just vanilla. Vanilla Jello. Digleyfur comes down. It has proven to be a pretty good card. Dreadspike has an 8-7 with Aegis. Grumble now 4-2 with Aegis. Gonna be hard to kill these creatures. Also, the Ice Eagle has frozen Munta. The Jellord comes down, gets the Digleyfur. Oh no, this is the Psybeam. Jellord is Psybeam, not Hydroblast like some of the other ones. Thank you all for being with us. This is Champions TCG Tournament, $50 free to enter coverage. We do it every day. Check it out, championstcg.com. So yeah, Hydroblast comes to take out Digleyfur, but that is still going to leave 2 lethal attackers. And Kiki throws in the White Towel, so we're going to go to game 3 here. Alright, and games kicked off already. Siora came down. We see Snowbeak took it out on turn 1, followed by Business on turn 2. Then the White Lily takes itself out. I wonder why he keeps doing that, but there goes business on the beak. Grumble takes out Amy. Shadowsteel comes down. Unable to get Grimzilla. We are playing the under 10 cent tournament rules, so only cards that were under 10 cents last night were allowed. Ziora gets an attack, or is attacked by Shadowsteel. Then the Retribution is triggered, followed by Encalius. All right, there comes the Snowbeak and the Shadowsteel. And Callius with the shell, the Aegis Guard, able to take out that Shadowsteel, remain a 5/5. Now Fangs takes Munta out. But a new Munta able to eat the Encalius. We're seeing a lot of back and forth. There's the Magma Claw. Zix played a lot of Magma Claw early in the Gen 2 format, eventually moved away from it, but now in the 10 cent version back. Down comes Hydroblast. Exactly 8 blasts and blooms and blasts with the Jello. Not a vanilla Jello. Definitely like a chocolate chip Jello or something like that. Fangs takes Munta out. Stoneclaw able to double fortify. And Munta, followed by Snowbeak. Looks like they combine to take the Stoneclaw out, and both Munta and Jello survive. Amy now draws 2, Ladacia, a very nice follow-up, and then Grumble to curve out. Good turn from Zix. There's not like things like Mechwing in this format because, again, we're only playing cards that cost 10 cents or less. So you do have to freeze the Ladacia if you want to deal with it. Luckily, K1 does have that Blizzard. And then we see the attacks. 7, 13, then an evolution to the Jellord. There's going to be a Psybeam there. Likely the Munta maybe. Or the Speedy. Looks like it was the Shadowsteel. That's also a good choice. I like the Shadowsteel because it can now attack into the Grumble freely. So, and also the Jellord buffs itself to a 9/10. Down comes Shadowsteel. This is, remember, game 3. Kiki with 2 cards in hands. And that Ladacia is frozen here. Cutiebug to bloom itself. So both players on their previous turn playing a lot of cards. Grumble able to hit that Munta out and then a pass back. The 9/10 will be able to attack. So looking at 15, 18, 21 crashing through before Ladacia able to trigger. Kiki could have some, K1 could have some sort of a rusher in hand, but instead deploys a Ladacia. Interesting choice there, because of course the double Ladacias, so it is a Dread Spike now. So this turn, this is the types of turns that I think Zix is very good at. We're going to see likely an attack all out for the face. That is my recommendation. Instead, no, just going after Grumble. I think that's a mistake. These are the types of turns that I think Zix is very good at mapping out. So maybe business into Dread Spike, and that's what we see. Then Snowbeak into Dread Spike. he also Zix could have some sort of rusher, so you want to you're one card short of what you maybe two yeah one card short of what you want to do. In a perfect world, you attack the Ice Eagle with the Snowbeak now, and then I guess yeah you attack. Okay, so you can't kill the Gel Lord, but that one is important to kill, and he must have some sort of. Okay, so it was a double Ladacia. Wow, that's quite a strong turn. I thought if he was gonna double Ladacia, maybe he chose to do that mid turn, because if that was his plan, I think he would have played it out a little bit differently at the beginning of the turn there, instead of going after some of those. I guess no, but yeah, because he attacked down the Dread Spike, so I think he decided to do that mid turn. Fangs comes down, Speedy takes it out, then Dark Shell, and now Draconics with Wind Seeking. Wind Seeking, wonder what he Wind Seeks. Maybe the Dark Spike. So that's going to be the Dark Shell on the Dark Spike. Well, likely, there it is, the Dread Spike, sorry. Ice Eagle on the Perp, just for good measure, and blooming himself with the bug. So very few cards could do this could help Kiki out of this jam. That double Ladacia turn, wow. You see, these are 10-cent cards, but that card is played in the regular format. You see the power and impact that had on the board. All right. And that is lethal. So K1, very well played turn there, but does fall to Zix Gutsgripon. All right, and we're going to take a brief break, and we'll be right back with you, okay? All right. Let's jump back in here. We're going to check out a little bit more of this round one action. We are watching Champions TCG Friday coverage. Let's jump back in here. We're going to check out a little bit more. We see things started off with a perp and an attack on business by Speedy. At the bottom of the screen, we have Brodnik. At the top of the screen, we're watching Big C. Emmy there draws 2 cards, double green. Pass back on 3 Brodnik. Can no longer attack for free this Amy, due to Speedy having already suffered 2 damage from the business. Down comes Snowbeak for 2. Then the Digga. Just a single Fortify. On the 10-cent tier list, I did talk about how Digga slightly a little bit more underwhelming than the Digleyfur. The best part about Digga is just that it evolves into Digleyfur. I don't think I would have shied away from it this 10-cent tier match, but it is a card you immediately want to evolve into Digleyfur. It's just a little underwhelming as a 2-power attacker. Then we have the 4-mana turn for Brodnik after double speedy from Big C. There, we see that Digga able to do some work. Shadowsteel goes and finds the evolution for the Dread Shell. There's the Dread Spike. I thought it might find the Digleyfur, but would have only single fortified there. There's going to be a Bloom Blast. That's a great way to play around that Aegis Shield that Dread Spike has. We see Fangs takes Digga out. Speedy takes Shadowsteel out. That is a tournament Shadowsteel, just taking a look at that now. I should have commented about that a little bit earlier. 5-mana turn for Brodnik here. Down comes Ladacia, so a good turn, just likely going to take an attack here for 8 and then, no, sorry. It does soak up 5 damage here, because I think basically with Hydromain, you just trigger this Ladacia. You attack for 3, trigger the Ladacia. Unless you just are content to not spend your mana this turn, but you're only getting 8 damage in that way. It just shows you the power of this Ladacia. It's again, a 10-cent card, and as soon as it hits the board, it completely changes the way that the game is being played. It's just so powerful. There it is. The trigger from the Hydromain must trade with the Ladacia, kills 3 cards, and that's the best case scenario. Dark Shell comes down, followed by a Ladacia of Big C Zone. So I don't like the Ladacia into the empty board, just because the Snowbee can trade with it instantly. Amy draws 2. And 3 mana now for Brodnik to deploy. Maybe just passes, takes an attack for 7, and then triggers the Retribution. Hard to say exactly what the best play or what I would do in this situation is. Takes an attack for 7, and then triggers the Retribution. Hard to say exactly what the best play or what I would do in this situation is. Just gonna pass. I think that's probably what I would have done. Essentially, you're just taking an attack for 7 here. Even if your opponent has some sort of like, you know, double Snowbeak or some sort of turn like that where you're taking a big rush attack, it's not so bad. Oh, so even while I'm saying this, I just forget the fact that the Dark Shell can just eat the Amy. So yeah, that was... It's funny because I'm sitting here saying that that's what I would have done, and just, I don't know why, but I completely forgot that. I'm thinking in my head I will just start the turn with Amy in play, trigger the Ladacia, and pass. But, of course, Dread Shell had something to say about that. Dracora comes down. So, Big C went from having 7 in play to now having 17 in play. So added 10 to the board, killed a creature, and now you are really trying to trigger that Ladacia immediately. But even if you trigger the Ladacia on this turn, you're still facing an attack for 13. It is quite a strong turn from Big C right there. Digleyfur comes down. That's okay. That can live through a Ladacia. Okay, so it's going to be a Bloom Blast. That's fine. That's actually probably one of the best ways that you could get out of this as Brodnik. First of all, you don't deal with the Ladacia, but you can next turn. If your opponent attacks your Digleyfur, they could kill your board, but they would wipe their own Ladacia to do that, and it would also set their Dracora down to 1 health. So this is exactly what you needed to have happen if you're a Brodnik. Could have gone way worse. And there we see exactly what we were talking about, except the Dracora didn't attack the Digleyfur, or it probably will now. It just saves its health. But still, again, that's a great turn if you are Brodnik. That's what you were hoping, best case scenario, you could do. We see the tournament business coming down. Again, that is like a multiple hundreds of dollars for that card. I love that art. I love that card. And of course, that does draw 2 because it has the greed trigger. Now we see 6 mana. We're facing 3 attackers. And it's just a Digleyfur Dracora. So that is a good turn. And a Fangs. Okay, so turn wasn't over there because although he was out of mana, he had the White Lily and then dropped the Fangs. I'm not sure if I love that that preemptive Fangs. It does add 2 power to the board, and maybe you're just trying to add an additional attacker, and just the curse is just kind of like the cherry on top. We see a Icicle freezing the Dracora. The Digleyfur answered cleanly by Jelly. So Big C feeling like he's in the driver's seat in this turn. Now an attack for 9 probably. Or does the Icicle attack too? I'm not even sure at this point. Down comes Business. Just draws a card. Pass back. It's on 9 now. So originally I didn't really like that Fangs. But we're seeing that now it does have some additional value in the sense that now the Fangs and the Business can team up to take out the Icicle. Still a lot of work to get rid of one Icicle, but you are at 33. Down comes Speedy, so this is good. Speedy able to eat the jelly. There it goes. You can still take out the Icicle. If you do that, still leaves 18 power on the board. You have 7 mana, so unclear how you're going to spend this. We know Brodnik is crafty and creative. We've seen him Bloom Blast before. Instead, just a Ami into Ladacia, and then Fangs to take out just the Business. And then Business to lower the other Icicle. Okay, so he's trying to set up a bigger Ladacia turn next turn. Now he is taking 15, 20 this turn. That drops him to 13. 13 is a worrisome life total. But you do play with some of those Bloom cutie pillars, cutie bugs. So 13 is something that you can stabilize at. We saw Jacob Wilson stabilize around that life total a little bit earlier in the tournament. Down comes Masa, so there's another Bloom card. So he's trying to plan around this Lidacia taking the Ice Eagle out. A follow-up Lidacia. And then just a triggering of the Lidacia. Okay, so trying to just... Instead of dropping Brodnik to 13, he does drop Brodnik to 17. We see Munta come down, followed by Draconics. That's a win-seeking, but this is going to be lethal, I think. And it was. So that preemptive triggering of the Retribution there by Big C turned out to be really important. Just credit cards good. All right. Looks like Bay took that game down. I believe that was game 3 here. And we are going to tune back in here and we will check in on the next round. While we're waiting for the next round, just take a brief moment, peek our Champion Series. So we're going to take a look at Generation 2, and yeah, some of these giant staples of the format, Snowbeak, Ice Eagle, these are in our 10 cent and under list. Same with Speedy, Amy there, and Callius, Glacetti, Some of the really powerful cards, still Munta, Digga, Digglyfur, Grumble, Fangs, Shadow Fang. Cards like Snowgaze that aren't in our 10 cent and under list, there is still a 10 cent version of that card called Gabi that is just slightly worse, but can be substituted. So if you're looking to build a deck for very cheap, that is instead of building with the $100 Snowgaze, just go with the 10 cent Gabi. There will be some games when you will lose because you have a Gabi, not a Snowgaze, but I would say that's probably going to be 1 in 100. For the most case, they're going to be very similar to the exact same card for you. Seora still in there, Neptiora, Stoneclaw, we're seeing some play, Cutie Pillar, Cutie Bug. Let's see. There's Gabi, Glidefin, good card for very cheap. Woofa, also very cheap, but not quite in our 10 cent and under. It's around 15 cents or something like that. So fortunately, we won't be seeing our players playing with that card. We'll take another quick break here. It looks like the players are getting ready for round 2, and then we will follow up with more tournament coverage, more tournament action from Champions TCG. We have Bay versus Zero coming up in round 2.
back in here, we see that we have Zero at the bottom of the screen, Bay at the top of the screen. Bay began things with a Thunderpurr, a Dark Shell, and a Limpy. The Ladacia takes out the Anj. Then we see a Zap attack from the Thunderpurr, hits the Ladacia. And then triggering that Ladacia. So this Limpy comes back down to be a 0-1. Followed by Ice Eagle, freezing the Dark Shell, and then passing back. 4 mana, 0, taking a 4 mana turn here. Down comes Shadow Steel. Now that can go and find Dark Spike, Dread Spike. Then comes Munta. The Dark Shell takes the Munta out and drops its shield. The Munta having taken out the Shadow Steel. Then we see a Bloom Blast on the Ice Eagle. Limpy comes down, runs into the pillar, and then Business for drawing 2. Sparkmane zaps for 2. That hits Zero's face. Now we see Jello taking the Sparkmane out. Attack for 3. Evolve the Dread Spike. I believe the Shadow Steel had Wind-Seeked that into Zero's hand. Attack for 1 with Cutie Pillar. Gets busy in the red zone. Now with 5 mana we see an evolution of the bug. That brings Jello's health back up to 5.
And then a pass back. Now the Ice Eagle's turn. We see another evolution of the Dread Spike. Very good turn. Then Grumble comes down. Jello and Dread Spike combine for 14 in the red zone. Attack back and a pass back to Bay. Bay was 6 in hand. Dread Spike comes down. That is just a full mana Dread Spike, so it's a hard cast 7. That's not what you want to be doing, especially when your opponent Bloom Blasts it. This is an attack for 32. And speedy, so that's 35. Bay is on 10 now. And then we see that Zero does take it down with a victory there. We'll jump into game 2 for that round 2 match. And it is Dark Shell on the battlefield with the Business. Zero at 4 mana. Plays the Ice Eagle. Then we see the Dark Shell and Business combine with an attack for lethal. Sparkmane off the field now. Bay on 7. Cards in hand. Deploys Munta for 4 mana and drops the Dark Shell. Munta is a 3 health champion now. Passing back to Zero, who has 5 mana at the disposal. We see the Ice Eagle trade with that Magma Claw. Down comes Business, then followed by Encalius. A very good turn there. We see the Ice Eagle trade with that Magma Claw. Down comes Business, then followed by Encalius. A very good turn there. Now we see another big attack. Pyromagus coming down. Robofly takes out Business. Passing back 0 on 8 mana. This is an attack for 19, so instead Encalius trades with Pyromagus. Now we have 8 mana for 0. He just deploys the Dread Spike for the full 7, then an attack for 10, I believe. Passing back, it will be 6 cards for Bay. Bay on 9 mana. Ice Eagle comes down, then Draconics to Windseek. Windseek could find a Gel Lord, or it could just draw a random card. Jello trades with that Draconics. Munta comes down, trades with Ice Eagle. Dreadspike is frozen. Cutiebug can attack. The White Lily gets busy just for fun. Draconics now. Windseek's likely a random card there. Shadowsteel also Windseek's likely a random card. Double Shadowsteel. So a good turn there for Bay, but the Draconics is going to be able to end the Dreadspike. Instead, we see that Zero prioritizing keeping that Draconics at a full 6 health, willing to trade the bug for it. New Dreadspike comes down, then Grumble, getting an attack in for 15. No, just an attack for 7. Yeah, I must have missed that. But Grumble also deployed. Now Bay back to 7 in hand. Ladacia played. It's not great on this board. This is the kind of board that can survive a Ladacia. Just trades all around. Attack for 12 here, likely. So it was a little bit better than originally thought would be. Speedy and then Shadowsteel. So Speedy, Shadowsteel could find Smacky here, but even if it does, it won't be able to evolve until next turn. This is a big Pyromagus. It does get rid of the Shadowsteel, but the other Inferno hits the Dark Shell, which had a shield. So this is going to be an attack down to 2, I believe. And you have 9 mana, and it is a Munta, so that is over, game over, and Bay has been eliminated. Now we see Zero advancing, I believe, to the next round, which will be against Zix. How are we all doing today, by the way, on this funky Friday? There we see Zix has moved on. Zero has moved on, and now Big C is waiting in the finals for the winner of this Zix-Zero matchup here. Alright, so we are going to be picking things up very quickly in this semifinals match here. Zix 0 just started. Let's jump in, bring you more Champions TCG tournament coverage. Starting things off with Zix at the bottom of the screen, we see he deployed a Grumble followed by a Shadow Steel, passed on turn 1. Ami from 0 on the draw does draw 2 cards. Speedy gonna take the Ami out 1 for 1, then a deployed Snowbeak and a big attack for 13. Already Zix with some heavy pressure. An additional attack next turn could drop 0 to 27. Down comes business, so this is setting up a... Okay, so Speedy able to... Interesting that you don't take out Snowbeak there. There we see an evolved Ice Eagle from the Snowbeak, so maybe that decision to take out the Speedy... A little bit. Okay, now Grumble takes Speedy down and an attack for 5, and Callius comes down. I believe it's 4 mana, right? And is a 5/5 with Aegis. So pretty good turn there for Zix. He has managed to fall behind pretty quickly on card advantage. 0 on 12. It is Zero's turn 5, I believe, here. He is facing a pretty formidable board. The only one on the board that is a little bit susceptible here is Shadow Steel, but it did draw a card, so... And it looks like it will be a Bloom Blast, the Cutie Pillar Jelly combo to take out Encalius. That is a Ladacia after deploying White Lily and then passing back. So this is 6 mana now for Zix. Having to think this one really strongly through. You could just trigger Ladacia with Shadow Steel, drop your Ice Eagle and your Grumble. Okay, so instead it's a Diglifur while the opponent still is able to trigger the quadruple Fortify. Diglifur is one of those cards I've found to be quite good. We'll likely see Ice Eagle trade with this Jelly. Maybe we'll see Grumble eat the Cutie Pillar. We do, and now a Ladacia with Zix's last 3 mana. Still, I'm not totally sold on that Ladacia for the reason we just saw. And now it does trade directly with the Munta, so that's not terrible. Because the Munta is a 4 mana card, so you're not too sad to trade with that. But down comes Snowbeak. Looks like Snowbeak... Diglifur will take out business. Diglifur still in blast range here. But we see 0 now down to 25. 17 attack on the board. If not dealt with, that will drop 0 to 8 on the following turn. So you see that 0 is... needing to take these Zix's board very seriously here. Diglifur, with the Fortify mechanic, will get 3 times the amount of cards on the enemy field as its health, in addition to the 3 that it starts with. There comes Hydromain. Like we talked about, Diglifur still able to be blasted. But if you have your Diglifur blasted, it's not the worst scenario. Magma Claw leaves the Ice Eagle on the battlefield. Now we see a freezing of the Ice Eagle, and likely that Grumble will take it out. Passing back, did manage to get an attack for 4 in there, so Zix hanging in with some parity here. Cutie Bug coming down. We could see a Bloom on the Ice Eagle. We also could see a Bloom on itself. I don't think I would... the Munta would still be able to eat it, so maybe what we'll see is either a bloom on the Ice Eagle or a bloom on Zero's health. It was a bloom on the Ice Eagle, which tells you that the blast is coming. There it is. It's the Jello. 6-5, and then Snowbeak just trades with Grumble. So after that massive rain of card advantage from Zero, we do see that that Magma Claw and Shadow Steel come back down, and now Zix with 3, Zero with 7, but Zix has 3 on the board that are each close to full health. So this has resulted in a slight mana advantage for Zix. Down comes Amy, so re-digging the well. Cutie Bug blasting again with Jello. Passing back. Now we can see an attack for 10 here with 9 mana. Down comes Amy. Then Stoneclaw for the triple fortify. And Fangs. Fangs takes out Amy, so that was a good turn. Munta and Shadow Steel can attack 0 to 6. Zix has 2 cards in hand, 2 mana to spend. The other thing you could see is Shadow Steel take out Jello, Munta hit the bug. Instead, we see that double attack to the face. And I'm not sure how much Zix had to think about that one. Okay, and it was a bug for 2, so a pretty good turn. We're unlikely to see some sort of there's no Earthquake in this under 10 cent format. Shadow Steel instead comes down for 3, and it could go get down. Jello takes out Munta, then Bug takes out Amy. Stoneclaw and Shadow Steel are pretty formidable. Alright, and we see that's a pass. So Zix managed to win game 1 there. Zix at the bottom of the screen, kicking things off on turn 1. It looks like Zero went first. Down comes Grumble. So what I like to see here is a play on turn 2 from Zix. I've been talking about this a little bit. Speedy comes down, just hits the shield for Grumble. The White Lily trades. Fangs takes Speedy out. And it wasn't a play on 2, but it was the play on 1 with Fangs. So we're going to go ahead and give that one a pass. Down comes Ladacia. Interesting. 3 mana play for Zix. Ladacia likely just to trade with the Grumble and Fangs. Down comes Amy, so it's even better for Zix. He's able to get that double greed, and Callius comes down for 0 for 4 and a pass. Amy, very outclassed by this Incalius, but freezes it. And now Incalius drops its Aegis Shield. Cutie Pillar coming down. This will be a Bug Blast. And pass back now. On 5, Zix. 8 cards in hand. Amy could eat the Pillar. The attack back, if you just eat the Pillar pass, the attack back is 11. So it's quite a serious attack back. Five mana here. Nothing to Windseek. You could Windseek up a Cutie Bug or something. Down comes Business, then Ladacia, then what we thought was an attack with Amy. So that will trigger, Jello will trigger Ladacia. Interesting that Jello did. It didn't matter because he planned to just trade with the Amy anyway, then draw the 3 cards. Then comes Snowbeak and drops the Business. Now on 6, facing against a 4-2 Amy, a 4-1 Snowbeak. Magma Claw cleans things up, barely able to survive, goes easy on itself. Business comes down, draws an additional 2. Both players with 7 cards in hand. The Beak likely to trade with Magma Claw. Instead, Shadow Steel comes down, likely finds the Ice Eagle, then trade with the Beak. Now it's a pass back for 7. Digley for a double fortify. Munta taking out Shadow Steel. It's going to probably trade with Business next turn, but that's okay. 6 still in hand. Big Digley fur down on the field. Digley fur still a 4/9. If it attacks out that Business, it could get it out of Hydroblast range, but instead the Jelly comes down, takes out the Digley fur, and Callius comes down for 0, passing back 8 for Zix. Okay, Munta with the attack on Jelly, and Callius passing back. So we're seeing a fairly even board here. 0 slightly ahead on mana. Ice Eagle, and now ahead on board, as in Callius able to double attack that with the Ice Eagle Blizzard, and then Draconics to Windseek. It's most likely just a random Windseek card, but passing back now 9 for Zix. He has the Munta to attack the Ice Eagle. That's the attack that Zero gave up when he took Callius out with the Blizzard. He knew that Munta could come back and get the Blizzard, the pig on the motorbike. Fangs takes out Business. 8 mana now. Facing 2 very difficult attackers in the Draconics and in Callius. Just a full Dread Spike, 7 mana. And it is the best creature on the battlefield, but it will get Bloom Blasted here. Dark Shell of his own for 0. I'll be right back with you.
What happened, baby?
I was breaking leaves and I found a 50.
What? That's awesome.
I don't know if it's real or not.
Oh yeah, it's real. Oh, whoever lost that, feel bad. All right, good job, baby.
It was probably us.
Probably.
Like out of your tips or something. I don't
Yeah, yeah. Was it in our yard?
know. It was like in the leaves by the trash can.
Oh wow, it's crazy. You must have felt so
Who was
good
that?
about that.
Maybe I never
Grant.
see 50s, but I saw it and I was like, did I just imagine on this?
All right, we are back. Zix is facing a very formidable board here. None of it easy to deal with. The Dread Spike even has the shield. He's at 41, so he'll likely get 2 turns to try to deal with this. Ladacia would be, probably the best way to get started. Dread Spike to Ice Eagle to freeze the Dread Spike. 2 cards left in hand. That is a good start. The Speedy's not going to be able to do anything. It could maybe force the Dread Spike to lose its shield. The Ice Eagle will be able to eat the Hydromain. Instead, Callius takes the Ice Eagle out, drops its shield, and then we see an attack for 16 here. Munta considering attacking the Speedy, I think. And he does. Now Draconics to Windseek. Another really difficult to deal with attacker for 0. And then Grumble, yet another powerful threat. Zix with 9 in hand, 9 mana 3 in hand. Facing the army of all armies, Draconics to Windseek. It's not going to be enough. That'll be a pass. $18, $24, and that's it. 31 and Zix at 30. That is lethal attack. Now we have Game 3 in our semifinals match. This is 0 versus Svutskripan. Svutskripan, one of our professional players from Magic the Gathering who has gotten involved. Same with 0, a pro In other TCG formats, Grumble comes down, so we are joining on turn 2. Looks like Zix is on the draw. There's the White Lily. Snowbeak for attacking for 4. And then Speedy to take out Snowbeak. 3 mana turn for Zix. Starkshell comes down, hoping that that will evolve if you're Zix. Looks like it may because Fangs took out Speedy. But we see a Dark Shell back. So now a pass back. Dark Shell with 4 mana. You could attack the opposing shell. Then evolve for 1, giving you 3 mana now for the rest of your turn. If you had something like Speedy, then you could take the Dark Shell on the 0 side out. That is what he has. And it is Fangs. And the Fangs just preserves Speedy's life a little bit. That is exactly what you wanted. So it's Cutie to hit the Dread Spike. So 0 packing exactly what he needs. Both these players playing quite quickly and confidently. Fangs can trade with Cutie Bug. Ice Eagle does freeze the jelly, no retaliation. Speedy takes it out. Now 9 attack on the board for Zix. Passing back, I believe 0 with 5 mana. How are you all doing today, this Friday? Drop us a note in the comments. Alright. Now down comes Darkshell, then Ladacia, and a pass back on this. That was turn 6. So that is 6 mana, and it's Speedy to take the Dark Shell's shield away, then to clear the board with the triggering of the Retribution. Shadowsteel probably finding the Ice Eagle. Shadow Snowbeak taking out the Dark Shell. Prevents the concern of evolving it. That was partially how Zero started to take some control over that last game. It is a Blizzard and then the Snowbeak. We know that Zix has the Snowbeak in hand, and a Magma Claw comes down. That was a difficult Inferno. It did take itself out and left both opposing creatures. Let's see if Zix can bounce back here. It is a Digleyfur with triple Fortify, Grumble, and then Ladacia. Seems likely that he'll be able to survive that that whiff from the Magma Claw. We'll see how it goes. It is the Snowbeak to attack and drop the Grumble Shield. Then the Ice Eagle trades with Ladacia. Jello takes out Digleyfur, drops Grumble, and then an attack by Encalius after it dropped its shield. Amy to draw 3. That is a big advantage for Zix in this game. Munta going to take Encalius out. Grumble can trade or can eat the Munta. Jello can eat the Amy, and then we see 2 cards from Zero, but he plays none of them. So this might be some sort of Zero Bloom Blast combo. Draconics comes down. Windseeks. Could Windseek Gelord, but likely just a random card there from Draconics. So 5 mana 7/6 draw card. Pretty good. Ice Eagle comes down, freezing Jello with a defensive Blizzard. Grumble not able to get busy in the red zone. Could attack Zix's face. We'll see the Bloom Blast combo. We sort of saw that one coming when Zero just chose to pass the turn before instead of deploying anything. It's probably because he had that bug main combo.
Ice Eagle takes the main out, then the business to draw 2. Then Speedy will take out Grumble, and we're seeing Zix. 2 mana left. We're seeing Zix at 46 life here, trying to, and it is a bug to bloom the shell. The shell's still outside of the blast range, so careful decision there, but deciding that that shell, having the shield, makes it a little bit of a better target. Then the jelly takes out Speedy. Amy to draw 2 off Greed. Zero keeping pace with Zix's 2 Greed turns. Zix has seen far more of his library, but Zero has been a little bit more efficient with his. Dark Shell drops the shield, takes out Amy, and then Munta on Munta. That's double pig on motorbike attack. Dread Spike for the full 7 and a pass. Now with 3 cards in hand, Zix at full 9. Can attack for 15, but still not a powerful attack. Digleyfur with 1 fortified. Not very good, but still a 4 power attacker. And that 6 health can take some opposing creatures out. We see the attack for 3, and the Dread Spike evolution draws Zix a card, now paying 1 mana, 5 remaining. Munta takes out the shield on Dread Spike, and then we see the Draconics eat the Dread Spike, now passing back Shadowsteel to Windseek. This is a random card. Zero adds a 5 power attacker and another with Encalius. We see Stoneclaw now able to double fortify. That does put it into the blast range. Then Magma Claw taking out Shadowsteel, dropping the shield for Encalius, and now an attack for 8. Zix starting to tighten the screws here. Similarly to the situation Zero put Zix in last game, it is the Cutie Pillar blooming and blasting, and then a pass. Now, interesting because he could have just blasted the Stoneclaw and bloomed himself, but he prioritized getting that Dread Spike off the battlefield. Stoneclaw fortifies for 2. Shadowsteel goes and finds a random card likely. Magma Claw, knowing that the pillar can eat it for free, just trades with the Jello. Then we see the attack for 8. Draconics to draw a card off Windseeker. And following up with a Ladacia. If you're Zero, that is exactly what you needed when you needed it. Now 9, 11, 16, 20. So taking an attack here for 20 will only drop you to 17. That is still plenty healthy life total here, and you would be running right into a Ladacia. Instead we see an attack and his own Ladacia. That quite a good turn. The Digleyfur remaining relevant there as a 4/6. Same with the Stoneclaw 4/5. The middle claw not as much at 4/4. But now we see Ice Eagle. It's a defensive Blizzard on Ladacia, and then a Windseek, and now Encalius comes down for 4. We see a big attack. Zero's on 9 life and 2 in hand. We see a strong army for Zix. He has that Ladacia as protection. Zix takes out Digleyfur. Then we see, the Ice Eagle takes out Digleyfur. The Ice Eagle takes out Ladacia. Then we see the Shadowsteel to Windseek. And you're still facing a lethal attack here. Oh no, yes you are, because it's the Encalius attacking for 5 and the bug getting the job done. Well done. We're moving on to the finals, and this is going to be Big C versus Zix Vutskrpan. All right,
And then we are going to take a brief break here while we wait for the players to get set up for the finals round. We are bringing you tournament coverage of Champions TCG. Come on back tomorrow for our $500 weekend open series. This weekend we are playing all 10 cent and under cards. There's a list in the Discord. If you want to come in, you can build the deck. The cards are 35 cards that go into a deck. So even if every single one costs exactly 35 cents, costs exactly 10 cents, you can get all 35 of your tournament net needed cards for under $3.50. And let me tell you, all of these games have been great. These are really exciting, really excellent matches, and they really emphasize and prioritize the strategy of this game. It's not just about windmilling a like a unbeatable monster. It's really about planning out your turns. How do you trade this for this, that with that? When do you attack the face? When do you attack the opponent's creatures? Should I bloom myself? Should I bloom the and blast? All of these things that help move a player from those first initial games all the way to the final tables where they're playing for the $500. So we're excited to bring you this coverage here. Thank you for tuning in with us. Again, this is Champions TCG. We do this every single day. $50 free rolls on the weekends, and then $500 free rolls on the weekdays, and $500 free rolls on the weekends. And yeah, my name is Brett Banfi. I'm your host today. Thank you for being with us, and we'll jump back into the action. So Big C at the top of the screen, we see that Zix was on the draw. The bug blooms itself. Munta takes the bug out. Fangs gets an attack in. Busy in the red zone, 4-2. Big C down to 56 after a double attack from Fangs. We do see a Munta in the graveyard for Zix. So that Munta did take an attack for 9. And I'm wondering how that Munta took 9 damage. Oh, it was likely a double attack. So maybe it took 5 and then it took 4. 4 and then 5. That would probably do it. So we see the Ice Eagle come down. That blizzards the opposing Munta. Now we see Fangs and the White Lily. Zix has been really consistent at getting his own White Lily off the board. Let's see if he does that again, and maybe after the game we'll ask him what is his strategy with that. And Callius comes down, attacks for 2. See this Ice Eagle now. It can't really attack into that Munta. Big C, also a fan of those Bloom Blast combos. But Big C here taking his time to think about this one. It's a Ice Eagle freezing the Munta. Likely the Eagle will tack it down, and that's what happens, but that's the end of the turn. So that did leave 2 mana available that Big C could have spent, which went unspent. Digley for a double fortifies. Dark Shell with the shield, and Callius attacks the Ice Eagle down, drops its shield, and Fangs gets in another 2. That Fangs has dealt 8 damage this turn. I gotta give Fangs credit. Not often is Fangs the single source of damage that you're doing to your opponent, but 4 turns, 4 attacks, 8 damage. Fangs is racking it up right now. Big C taking his time now. 7 mana. Important turn here. Ice Eagle can't eat that Encalius. Again, we're going back to that Ice Eagle having 5 health, not 6. It can attack into the Digleyfur, but it's not lethal. That double fortify is so valuable for the Digleyfur. That's all of these cards, again, under 10 cents, so they are worth picking up if you're just taking a second to tune in to our coverage and checking out our market. These are some very powerful cards. Munta coming down, gets an attack in for 5. An interesting decision there. Don't know that I love it. Ladacia for 3. Like, for example, you could just Munta the Dark Shell. Drops your Munta to 3, but now your Dark Shell is shields down. Your Ladacia can take it out. As it is right now, Digleyfur can attack into the Ladacia and survive. The Dark Shell would remain on the board as a 3/3. Now you would still be facing a Munta, but you have 7 here. Pig on the motorbike, looking to do some damage in the dirt. Instead, we see the Dark Shell attack into the Ladacia. Likely, we're going to see the Fangs trigger it. Retribution goes off. Digleyfur down to a reasonable 4/5, and the Dreadspike at an 8/7. Drew a card. Now the Ice Eagle comes down, and it's a Snowbeak and Digleyfur attack to clean the board up. A very well played turn there. And draw a card off of that evolution. Well done by Zix. Big C. Looking over his options, it will be a Bloom Blast. It's the Massagello combo. Dreadspike with the shield. Blasted out of the battlefield. Draconics comes down after the turn passes and Wind Seeks with 3 to play. Doesn't. Oh, he could get another Ice Eagle, so that would be quite good because Snowbeak can attack. And it is an attack, and it gets the Masa off the battlefield because Fangs was able to take it out. Then the evolution draws a card and an attack in for 4. Now, 25 attack power on the battlefield. Shadowsteel comes down. That likely draws a random card. Dracora comes down. Doesn't look like he'll have a turn where he takes the opponent's creatures out. So this is an attack for 25. He did draw an additional card now. You could see Speedy just trade with Shadowsteel. Draconics could eat the Dracora. That's what we see. Draconics eat the Dracora. Fangs eats the shield on Dark Shell. Then Digleyfur takes the Dark Shell out, so effectively 1-for-1s. As we thought, Speedy takes out the Shadowsteel, and now Dreadspike comes down. And just like last turn, there wasn't a proactive defense from Big C. Most likely we're not going to see one this time either, but instead of being an attack for 25 this turn, it's an attack for 31, which would drop Big C to 5. Big C with 5 in hand after getting a double greed here. Likely, I believe, has 7 mana to play with on this turn. You have a Draconics, like, in a perfect world, you Fangs the Draconics. Instead, Amy to draw an additional card. That means that Big C is really grasping at straws here, and we're likely to see a big attack from Zix. There's the beak. And unfortunately, unable to eat anything, just trades with Draconics. Alright, now we see Amy come down, draws a card. The attack back is 24, so that would be 12. Big C would be at 12 here. Snowbeak able to eat the business. Ice Eagle able to eat the Amy. Instead, we see an attack for 18, dropping Big C to 18. This is likely a lethal attack on the crackback. Instead, we see Fangs get the Ice Eagle off. There is 30 attack on the board right now. 6 of it goes off, so 24 is still out there. 6 still needs to get hit. Unfortunately, that Dread Spike with the Aegis Shield, so hard to get rid of. The Snowbeak looming around with 1 health. Now the bug comes down. The bug will bloom Big C. Eventually, your Fangs, you're hoping that could trade with that Snowbeak. Draconics will draw a card. Grumble comes down. Just like the Dread Spike with that Aegis Shield. With no mech wings in this under 10 cent format, it's difficult. And there you go. It is a lethal attack there. Alright, and we are ready to kick things off here. Jumping in, we saw that Zix took game 1 down. Zix is on the play here. Munta comes down, eats the Hydro Main. Big C's deployed that White Lily, and we saw Digglyfur from Zix has been dealt with. Down comes Ice Eagle, Blizzard on Munta, an attack with the Shielded Shell. That is lethal. Munta, the pig on the bike. Yesterday's news now. 5 mana for Zix, down to 3 with Speedy on the field. Speedy able to eat the shell of the shell. Ladacia for the remaining 3. Again, no mech wings in this format. Ladacia likely to trigger. And you could ensure it triggers the Dark Shell off the field by attacking the shell with the Speedy, but he chooses not to. He just goes face there. Ice Eagle taking out Speedy. Pillar to bloom the Eagle back. Munta to take out Ladacia. So if you're Zix, you're not too sad about that. That was a lot of resources and didn't really advance you too much. If you're Big C. Ice Eagle
and that Ice Eagle was only at 2 because of that Ladacia. That gives it the ability for the Snowbeak to take it out. Snowbeak can trade with Dark Shell now, but again, if you're Zix, you're pretty happy about that. Could have gone worse for you. Amy comes down, so Big C, big draw there, double greed. There it is, the Ice Eagle with the Bloom and the Blast from Jelly and the Pillar. Add 5 to your attack now. Passing back, it is a 7-mana turn. Amy for himself from Zix. Important that you keep pace here. Amy cursed by Fangs. Grumble comes down and pass back. That Grumble able to eat the Jelly. Jelly likely to trade with Amy, or maybe it will eat the Fangs. That Pillar a little bit outmatched on this battlefield. Sometimes the Pillar can be a nice little mini Fangs, but this not in this match. Pyromagus comes down and eats the shield from Grumble, but takes out Fangs, but leaves the Amy. Leaves itself too. Goes easy, goes gentle, goes light. Jelly a 4/3. Cutie Pillar a 1/1 now. Big C likely not with much mana left, considering his attacks. Not sure. I think maybe he was considering attacking one of these 4/2s, but chooses not to. If he could attack them both out of the game, he probably would have to save his Pyromagus. But no matter what his attack was, that Cutie Pillar just slightly outmatched on field. 8 mana now for Zix. Likely one attack will go to this Magus. Oh, it is a Magma Claw to take the rest of the board out. Attack for 4, pass back. So a little bit of a better Inferno turn there from Zix compared to Big C on the previous turn with his Magmus. The Magmus able to eat the Fangs on the previous turn, but left the Grumble due to the shield. And that, you see, gave Grumble the ability to tackle the Cutie Pillar. Magma took care of the rest. We're going to see a Bloom Blast, Cutie Bug, and Jello combine to Hydroblast this Magma Claw. Now a pass back on 9. Neither Grumble nor Amy able to trade or tango with this Jello. They could team up, but a little bit of a... Instead, we see Grumble and then Munta taking out Business, followed by Encalius and a pass now. Jello could eat the Amy, but that will leave a Munta and Encalius on the field. The Encalius at full shield right now. Big C, I believe, on 9 with 6 in hand. This is game 2. Zix took down game 1. Beak comes down. Beak to take out the shield, and then Jello to trade with Encalius. So there must be some play here. I think that is a surprising decision if there's not some sort of way to deal with Amy and Munta. Oh, it was because of Business. So the prioritizing drawing the additional card, and it gets the Encalius off the battlefield. So I do understand that play. It was surprising, but I can see some of the logic to it. You basically, you do leave an attack back, but now with the Speedy being able to take Amy, now all you do is you leave a Munta on the field, but it is in retribution range. So whereas that Encalius was outside of retribution range. So that's an important point of clarification there. Dark Shell comes down. Big C looking to evolve that right away. The Dread Spike. Down comes Amy. Just draws 1. Munta gonna eat this Speedy. Dark Shell of his own, then Ladacia, and then a pass back. Now Business is able to trade with Amy. Dark Shell can eat the Munta.
then you're leaving your opponent with a full shield Dark Shell and a Ladacia. Instead, we just see Business to drop the shields on the shell, followed up with his own Ladacia. We still... Okay, so all said and done, everything off the field, Dark Shell survives, shields down. Maybe he has the evolution in hand and just wanted to be able to survive to the next turn. Instead, we see double Wind Seeking, then a pass, 12 on board for the power for Zix, 3 power for Big C on the back of that shell. Big C trades the shell with the steel, so no evolution in hand, but he does have greed in hand, and he gasses back up. Now this Draconics is going to be a little bit of a troublesome permanent. Big C down to 11 in library, Zix at 15. Ice Eagle freezing the Draconics. Fangs. There's a curse on Draconics. 9 mana now. Draconics is frozen. Shadowsteel to Windseek. Just a random card. Stoneclaw. Triple fortifies. Speedy. Hit your Ami. Go. 8 attack on board for Ice Eagle and Fangs. And we are passing it back. Ice Eagle now. Draconics is on 5 as a 5/4. Tack down that Fangs. Speedy trades with Shadowsteel. The Stoneclaw looming as a big 4 attacking 12 big butt monster. Dracora to drop you to 42 with a big Vortex. Now the trade with the Ice Eagle. Shadowsteel to draw a random card, or Nepturia. He could have maybe got Nepturia. I believe that Hydroblast, that could deal with the Stoneclaw and add 9 attack to the board. Dreadspike for 7. This Stoneclaw likely to hit the Shadowsteel, and then you no longer are in blast range, although still a 9 power attacker and drawing a card. It's quite a good turn. See the attack by Dracora, then the attack by Snowbeak. That takes the Dreadspike out. Now we see the Stoneclaw is at a 4/7. Baba a 1/1. Fangs is a 2/2. Masa comes down. There's a Bloom on the sea himself. 9 mana now. Digleyfur double fortifies. Attack for 2 on Baba, and then ignore the Masa. drop the bug, attack you for 4. We're in that grindy mode of the game. The Masa can eat the fangs. Digleyfur falls to the jelly. Masa, no other good attacks besides that fangs, but instead just goes to face. The bug can eat the jelly, and then fangs can eat the Masa after the Stone Claw drops it down. Snowbeak for 4. That's the flip side of not getting that fangs off the battlefield with the Masa. Is that the fangs ended up trading with the Masa anyway, so yeah, I think maybe I like Big C's play there. Baba is a 4-1 for 1. Not what you want late game, but still not nothing. Ice Eagle, after after attacking, evolves in Blizzards. Then we see an attack and Stoneclaw. The card that was drawn was the Dark Shell. The bug comes down and Bloom Sea. 9 mana now. There's the Dark Shell, bloomed by the bug. It is a big attack there from Big C. I'm sorry, from Zix. Big C on 6. Shadowsteel, Windseek's a random card. Big C likely dead here. The Dreadspike has Aegis, so it's basically over, but gets an attack in for 8 just to let him know. But that's it. Thank you for being with us today. That's the conclusion of our finals match, Champions TCG coverage. We're doing this every day, $50 free rolls. My name is Brett Banfi. I am your host. Weekend tournaments are $500, free to enter, and you just saw Pro Tour finalist, Magic the Gathering professional, and subject of the Vice documentary, Jacob Wilson, take it down with a deck that costs less than $3. Make sure you're taking a look at all of those secondary market deals. Tons of incredible cards out there, still just for pennies. And this is, of course, only available to you through Champions TCG. Thank you very much, and we'll see you tomorrow for some weekend coverage.